You're gonna have to forgive me, I am really tired because I was going to do this earlier, but I kinda dozed off, and now it's technically day 28, but when I'm recording this, day 28 on the East Coast, but I still gotta get this done, so let's just get this started. Hey guys, KiraKennedy here with day 27 in my vlog every day in August challenge, again, even though I'm technically recording this during day 28. But as I mentioned several times during this past month, pardon me, I actually had a really huge workshop I was going to that I went to today. Basically, way back during my August day 2 vlog, I mentioned how I did this improv workshop at ConBravo run by this Canadian geek-based improv group called the 404s. And at that workshop, they were taking volunteers to begin auditioning. And while I would technically count that as my first audition, technically this was my first audition because I got invited back to, or they sent invites to everyone who signed up to come down to another workshop that they were doing in downtown Toronto. And this one was a little bit different. It was kind of the same but different. It was about twice as long. The workshop at ConBravo was about 2 hours. This one was a whopping 4. And while there were a lot of warm-ups that were very similar, like games like Clap Focus, where you all stand in a circle and you clap towards someone else in that circle, always making sure to make eye contact, or stuff like red ball, yellow ball, blue ball, which is just kind of like Clap Focus, so instead of sending a clap, you throw an imaginary ball. And then, after the warm-ups were done, which also involved a game of just kind of walking around and pretending to be characters and animals and all that, which was interesting. There were some moments where I think I didn't quite think through on characters with that, but yeah. And then we got into the really fun part, which was basically when we started playing actual improv games. The game I got involved with for the first half of my audition was actually a game called Change, which if you've seen Whose Line, or if you happen to live here in Canada and you've seen 404 shows before, it's a game they play almost every time, where you act out a scene. You have two people acting out a scene normally, but then either someone in the audience, or in the case of this actual workshop, one of the 404s themselves would randomly shout out change, and you'd have to completely change the last sentence you said. So for example, in the scene I did, I was a server at a cafe serving a member of the 404s who I revealed was pretending to be Hulk Hogan. And when I was pushing the special, when my character was pushing the cafe's special of the day to him, it started out as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Then they shouted change the first time. Then it was a peanut butter and banana sandwich. And then the third time, because we totally had to escalate it after we had to change what we were going to say a second time, I think what I had said was a literal pile of shit. And just after that scene had finished off, something I always say is that improv guys, they make it look so easy, but even though it's a lot more difficult than it looks, it's very, very fun to play out those scenes and to try to think off the top of your head with that kind of stuff. But basically, after everyone got a chance to play a game during the first half, we took a 20-minute break, did a very, very brief warm-up after we started the second half, which I can't remember what we did on that one. And then we had the second part of the audition, which was there was a set of games set up, and we basically we actually basically did our own show at that point. I actually got to get involved in 2 games at that point. The first one was movie genres. I think that's what the game was called, where basically we had to act out a scene, but at random points, the person running the show who was also the person running the workshop, one of the main people running the workshop, would shout out random genres, and we'd have to change the scene based on that genre. So we started out just acting normally, then it became a mystery story, then an action movie, and we ended it on an opera, which I thought was pretty amazing. It was very, very fun to do that kind of stuff, and I think the second half was where I kind of started getting a lot more comfortable. I think it was also with my dad and my little brother, because I should mention, they joined us. They joined me, partially for moral support, partially because I convinced them it would be fun, which they agreed it was a lot of fun. And then the final game was one that, after everybody had kind of gotten the chance to go up, we all kind of got in the line and got to play a game called Bus Stop, which was essentially you start with two people sitting down like they're waiting for a bus, and basically you have to try to convince one of the people in that scene to leave. I think the character I played was a police officer who wound up sending his partner off to fix a problem that actually tied into the musical theater game I had earlier. But that was probably my favorite game to play that today. All in all, it was very fun, and I think I did well. I'm not sure if I did well enough to actually get that second or third audition, or whatever you would say, because at the beginning of the workshop, they told us flat out that if we made it through, we'd be going to. They'd encourage us to come to the next workshop for what they said was a second audition. And after that, we'd be considered for being what they call nuggets, which is basically their term for the probationary period for when you join the 404s. Again, I apologize if I'm rambling here, but I am very tired and I just need to get this vlog out. Anyways. So while I'm not sure if I'd be invited back, if my performance was enough to invite me back for a second audition, I still think I did pretty well, and they encouraged us that even if we didn't make the second audition, that if we wanted to come to the next workshop next month, that we were all very much welcome to. And I think that's something I might wind up doing, mainly because, one, improv is just so damn fun, and two, I think this is something where the more I do it, even if I don't have a goal of, I want to join the 404s, I think if I continue going to these kind of workshops, I think I can just improve my improv that much more. And I think the interaction part's pretty cool as well. But that's about it. So, if you guys would like to follow me on social media, I am on Twitter at KiraKennedyHNR, Tumblr at KiraKennedyHNR.tumblr.com, and of course, you can always check out my Facebook page at facebook.com/KiraKennedyReviews. And as always, check out any of my past work, my Let's Plays, my stream archives, even my reviews, you can do so at peanutbutterdisaster.com. So until tomorrow, I'm Kira Kennedy, and thank you for watching.
Peanut butter disaster.